Hey guys, we're back today on the little PW50. There's a few things I want to try to get accomplished today. The first being the draining the old gas out of here. I've got a jug with a funnel set up. We can disconnect this hose and drain it into here, get rid of this gas. Remember, we don't know how old it is. Then we'll pull this carburetor out of here. And to do that, we got to take the Phillips out of here, pull this assembly up, remove the airbox, which I don't know if you can tell, but it's it's had some weight reduction done to it. So there's nothing left of it. It's all been cut out, and I presume that's because they had the big bore kit on it. But that's not, I don't know, not the safest idea when you can just have water rush right in here, right into this port, and get sucked right into the engine. So I don't know if that was a contributing factor when they put this thing in water or not, but I did get a new housing and filter as well for it. And I bought a ultrasonic cleaner and some ultrasonic cleaning solution for carburetors, fuel injectors, and other auto parts. So we're going to mix up a batch of liquid. Here's the unit here. It's 6 liters, so it's plenty big to put a carburetor in, for sure, this little guy. And I think what I might do, because it's so big, instead of filling this whole thing up with that expensive fluid, what I'm going to do is fill a Ziploc bag with the fluid, with the solution, and then top the rest up with water to the full mark here. That way, you know, we're not disposing of 6 liters of fluid every time. The mixture for that solution is 5 to 1, 5 parts water, 1 part solution, so it should go a long ways, but still, it wasn't cheap. So we'll go ahead and try that out, see how that carb turns out. So after we get it off here, I'm going to give it a quick spray down in a tub with some parts cleaner, and then we'll disassemble it and then put it in a bag, and we'll see how that turns out. We'll check the tire pressure, the tires if we get a chance to still today, and I want to look into replacing these grips too. They're not too bad, but they're pretty worn and hard. And this one's sticky, and I'm not sure if that's to do with the carburetor or if there's actually a spring on this handle or not. I don't think so, but we'll take this apart and have a look too. And then after that, it's time to dial on the carb and get it running and put it through a heat cycle. So we'll see how far we get today, and we'll see. Right, so we get the jug set up with the funnel. Let's turn on the little petcock here, and we should get fuel, and we are. So we'll let that drain out of here. It's about to here, so probably not much more than a liter and a bit in there, maybe something like that. So that shouldn't take too long to drain out of there. In the meantime, see how much air we got in these tires. Oh, lots easier said than done. They're so close to the hub, my tire gauge isn't going to fit in there. Okay. I'll have to get the low pro one. Put this 90-degree angle on here and try that out. 20. Oh boy, that drains quick. How much air in there? 15. Only 10. There we go. Both are missing the little fill caps, so we got a couple. Yeah. There we go. Right, to get this air box out of the back here, it's just Phillips through the back end here. Here's what's left of the housing. It's, I'll show you the new one in a minute, but all this is solid on the new one. And then, yeah. I guess if you're gonna put a big bore kit in it, you gotta have it breathe though. Maybe that's normal? And the old filter's seen much better days, so I got a new one of those. And then we've got, looks like a 10mm at the bottom probably. So they're supposed to breathe in through the top here, which tries to limit the water from being able to get sucked in here, but yeah. Phillips at the top of the carb. This should slide the whole throttle and choke assembly out. Keep this part clean, so I'm going to stuff a clean bag under it. Okay. Normally you'd have the oil line here too for the lubricator, but that's been removed on this bike, of course. Loosen up that clamp, and that should be it. Yep. The size of this little guy, eh? Cute. So I'll grab a plastic tub and we'll set up on the bench and we'll clean this thing up on the outside before we throw it into the ultrasonic. All right, so we'll keep this side the dirty side for now. Just got a hog hair brush here. That's already looking $1 million better. Okay, so the first step is to take the bowl off the bottom. Ooh, that was really loose. Well, it's not the cleanest in there. But actually not too bad. It's not a lot of crap in it. And this is the float itself. You can see the little needle in there. So of course, as the gas rises in the bowl, it'll close up that pin and it won't allow any more gas in the port there. Then I'm just going to get a little pick tool here. We'll just take that little pin, push him through. That releases. Now we had a hair stuck in there. There's the float and the needle. It looks really clean, actually. We'll take and pull this little plastic bushing out of here. And then there's a rubber seal in here we'll take out. A little bit of gunk stuck in here, you can see. Okay, now that we're this far, I'm going to leave the idle adjustment where it is. I don't really see any point in taking that out to clean it. It's just got the, I don't know if you can see it, there's a let me get a flashlight in there. It just has a little raised portion in there where it protrudes in, where it actually will push on the plunger so that it can only go down so far, and that's how you adjust your idle. But we are going to pull out that air mixture screw, whoops, so that we can check that. And that's this guy here. Ours was way too far out. So we'll have to start with the factory setting on this. I suspect everything would be way out anyway from the big bore kit being in it, but it's not coming out nice. There we go. Yeah, it's a little mucky in there. And there should be a spring here. I'll pull that out as well. Then we've got on the top end the main jet, which has the emulsion tube behind it, so we want to clean that, so we got to get this out. There's the main jet, which I can not see through very well, so that might have given us an issue. And there's the emulsion tube inside there, which you press out from the back here, which we'll do in a minute. But the next thing is the pilot jet, which sits down inside this tube here beside the main. And that is a flat blade. There we go. And that one I can see through. It looks a little gummed up on this end. Probably won't pick it up in the camera, but we will after we clean it here. Hopefully be able to look through it. So the emulsion tube, we need to get a little brass punch and put it on the back end and then push down to plop it out. And I don't have the brass punch, but this one will work too, flat punch. So carefully put it on the tube. Right, like so. Push down. And here it is. A little bit corroded looking, but I think all the holes are clean. So that would have been fine. Okay, and that's it. I'm going to grab ourselves the Ziploc bag here and fill some water into the main cavity of this, and then we'll run this thing. Okay, got all the parts in here. I've mixed up some 5:1 concentration of the solution in a bottle. Pour this into the Ziploc bag. Squish all this air out of here. And it looks like once we have the other fluid in here, this should be submerged. We'll get some water. All right, here we go. Okay. And there we are, we're at max. So, I believe, yep. Well, the float's floating, that's good. And everything's submerged nicely. I'm gonna give it a couple spins here just to get any air bubbles out of the components. And then it should be ready. So, believe the way this guy works, and this is, bear with me, this is my first time trying this thing out, is it's got a temperature setting. So, step one, you plug it in. There's a switch on the back. So, the actual temperature is coming in at 28 degrees. You can see right here. The set point, actually maybe the camera's not going to pick that up nicely, but the set point's 40. Heater. I believe there we go, that turns the heater on. So we'll wait till that gets up to 40 and we'll give it a whirl. They do say that if you have something with lots of little air bubbles on it, that you can use this degas cycle, which gets rid of extra air first, and then after that you run the cycle. So it makes it more efficient apparently, but I don't think we'll necessarily need that unless, you know what, we could try it. Degas. And go. So this is degassing cycle. It's quite a good disco show. I can see the bubbles going crazy inside the bag. I don't know if you guys can pick that up. Try to bring it a little closer here. Doesn't really feel like anything to your finger. But the air bubbles sure don't like it. They're breaking up in there. That's interesting. Yeah, that's enough of that. I'm going to let this just heat up for a bit, and I'll bring you guys back in when it's up to temperature. Alright, we're finally up to temperature here, so I'm going to hit the button. Hopefully it's not too annoying. And it should do its thing for 10 minutes. Oh, interesting. You can see cloudy substances forming inside there, which is obviously dirt. Let this do its thing and we'll come back and see how it turned out. All right. Well, see a bunch of stuff floating around in there. At first glance, everything looks fairly clean through the bag here. So I guess what we'll do is strain this bag out and actually let's just take the parts out and then we'll have a look at it. Wow. That looks pretty good. That came out really nice actually. There's the bowl. Little jets. I don't know if you guys are able to see. There's quite a bit of black gunky stuff in the bottom there. So, yeah. Pretty cool. So these parts are supposed to get rinsed in hot water, so I'm gonna go rinse them and I'll come back with the clean parts.
From here, I'm gonna clean up.
Okay, so I did get a kit of these little carburetor orifice cleaners, but a lot of these orifices are so small on this thing they don't even fit in some of them. So what I'm going to do, what I did, sorry, is I washed it with warm water, sprayed carburetor cleaner through every hole in the orifice I could find, and then blew compressed air through it. I've got, what I found worked really well is for my compressor, I have one of these nozzles to fill up a ball, and I just screwed that into the end of it and used that to blow all the holes out. And then what you can do is use a nice flashlight. And I hope I don't blind everybody, but you can see how on the main bore there's 2 holes. This one's straight through. This one's good. And if you shine through here, you can see a light down in the air adjustment. See? So that one's good. I think that's the only ones I'm really concerned with right now. The jets, same thing. Make sure you can see light through them, which we can. Same with the main emulsion tube. You want to be able to make sure you can see through all the holes in it, as well as straight through it. And ours is nice and clean, so we are good. See, there's a little bit of gunk on our air adjustment screw. I'm going to get a little brush and clean that off. Other than that, everything looks pretty good. The needle cleaned up nice for the float. The bowl even cleaned up not too bad. There's some pitting in the bottom, but I'm wondering if that was even from the manufacturing process, because it's no gunk in there or anything anymore. So we'll see if we can clean up that little needle with our hog hair brush. And then, or rather the air adjustment. It's pretty smooth. Remember, this was paired with the spring. So now we can start reassembling things. So the thing I wanted to start with was the one that's scared me the most, and that's this emulsion tube. So that apparently just goes in like this. Presses in. Yeah. Once the bottom's out, you're done. And the primary jet screws into that. Like so. And then the pilot jet goes in there. And we had our little tiny flat screwdriver. And just go gently till it bottoms out, don't force it. Right there. And the air screw with its spring, don't forget the spring, goes in here. once we're bottomed out, factory setting is 1.5 turns out. So half a turn, 1 turn, 1.5 turns. What we're going to do anyways is once we get the idle kind of set and the bike idling after it warms up, important you wait 3 minutes, 4 minutes till the bike's warmish, and it'll run without the choke on before you adjust anything. But once you adjust that, you can adjust the idle screw. If you go too far one way or the other way, the idle speed will drop. So set it to where you get the highest idle speed, right around 1.5 turns, and then you can adjust the idle speed here for the correct idle on the bike that you're happy with. Now we'll put the needle in, the float needle. It just drops in its hole. Put the pin back in. Make sure you got free range. Motion, yep, works good. And then reposition our gasket. And put the bottom back on. There we go. 4 screws. There we go, rebuilt carb. So you might notice I'm missing the brass little pipe that goes into the inlet here. Unfortunately, that pulled out with the fuel line, the feed line. So I've got a little bit of JB weld I'm going to put around the top edge here and press it back in, and that should work there. Let it cure for its required time before you put any gasoline through this. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with the way this has turned out. Rubber gasket. And the plastic like that. And she's ready to go back on the bike. Nice. Overall, I think that ultrasonic cleaner was worth it if you've got a few carbs you want to run through. I think I got it on sale for 250 bucks, but yeah, not a bad deal if you get a few uses out of it. Okay guys, here we are back at the bike. So the carburetor just goes back into position here. Slide it on all the way and twist it till it's level. So right about there. Okay, tighten the clamp and then reinsert, making sure you don't get any dirt on these. Of note, there's a slit on the back. Yeah, I'll get you guys in better. So I just noticed something here. The needle was just popping up and down at will when it's assembled. And if I look on the website at the manual, there's supposed to be right here a little retainer, that like a seat for the spring that sits under the spring and pushes down on top of this little clip to keep the needle down, and I'm missing that, so I'm gonna have to see if I can create one here. Be back, see what I can find. Alright, so here's what I came up with. I have these little caps. You're supposed to put a screw through here and mount something, and then this is a little beauty clip that clips over top to hide the head of the screw. But this little plastic piece has a hole in the center for the pin, and it also is the right size perfectly for the slide. As well, spring fits it perfectly, and it looks to be about the same width as that clip. So I think that's going to work. This sits in there like that. So we need just the tiniest little groove cut out of one side there so that the cable can come through. There. That should do it. Okay, so first the needle goes in, and our makeshift spring seat. And the spring goes over top of the cable. The tricky part now is we have to compress the spring most of the way so we can slide the retainer like this. And a place like that. And now the needle is in place how it should be. Alright, now we're going to reassemble it. So to get the this assembly back in there, it's a fairly simple task. The choke doesn't matter which way it goes. The one for the throttle, however, see how it's got a groove in it? That has to, there's a pin inside there that we got to line up with. So just got to be very careful. We'll get that lined up. And this slot here, this slot interfaces with the idle adjustment screw. So we'll be looking at that in a second, because there is a way to set your idle initial. There we go. Feels good. So inside here, you can look inside and see the slide that we just put in. The manual recommends adjusting this out and then adjusting it in just until you see the slide start to move. Okay, there we go. We're now adjusted. So the throttle just starts to move, and it's down far enough that it's in the fully closed position. I will lock this down again. One more inspection inside. Perfect. Okay. Now I think what I'm going to do is we'll epoxy this tube back in place, and then we'll probably let it cure overnight. And in the meantime, I will install the airbox, which we've got right here. I just noticed that the filter that comes with the airbox I bought off Amazon is not pre-oiled, which, you know, no big deal. But the Yamaha one is, so we're going to go ahead and leave this as a spare for them, and we're going to install the pre-oiled one. Seems like a higher density foam too. Feel a little bit better about this one. Here we go. Okay, it's the airbox. The old gasket's so hard. It's like plastic. Jeez, finally. That did not like to come off. Of course, they had the rubber installed backwards on the new one here. There we go. Okay, now let's get it, tighten that clamp, attach the airbox to the carb properly. There we are. Great. Okay, I'm going to mix up a tiny bit of epoxy and I'll come back. Okay, so I've got a little bit of epoxy here. Just going to put a little bit around the barrel. Not down at the bottom, of course. Slide it in. And that's it. That sets in 6 minutes and cures in 4 to 6 hours, so we'll let that do its thing. Just don't forget to hook this line up, I guess. Have to give ourselves a reminder. And the only other thing left to accomplish on this bike is to install the exhaust. So here's the current exhaust setup. Got the main pipe coming off the engine, and then this piece has the arrestor in it, spark arrestor in it. Well, this one's not removable, the factory one is, so you can clean it, but this one isn't. And this then attaches here with that coupling. So this piece did get some hardware. I bought 2 new bolts. These go through the flange into the head, and I bought a new seal, which I don't know. That one's in there. No, this one doesn't look too bad. I think I might try to use this one. Although this one has a nice sealant on it, so maybe we'll just pop it out. Should be able to remove that. There we go. So the old one, yeah, although it doesn't look bad, why not put a new one in? We already have it. So this one comes with the restrictor plate. When you buy the bike from the factory, it has this installed, and you can pop that out to give you more power. So I'm assuming they're going to want that out. So that part should just pop out of here. Should. There you go. So it's really just a washer that restricts some of the exhaust flow, so we'll keep that for them. And this goes in here, like so. And then the torque for this, I wrote down 6.5 foot-pounds only. So I'm going to turn the bike around so you guys can see a little better. Okay, so I've got the exhaust routed where it should go. Got the seal installed. Now I just need to get the bolts lined up. Okay, that one we'll need a wrench on. Okay, there we go. So now the back of the bike, the exhaust ends here, and the other pipe attaches here. So what I need to find, unfortunately, is a bolt because it's missing. Probably a 10mm. I'm going to see what I have. Okay, so I found a bolt. Now I just need to hook up this. That goes in the top. Okay, there we have it. One exhaust system. And now we've got a spare gasket for the head as well, so I'll include that with the restrictor plate for them. And once this epoxy's set, we'll put some fuel in it, hook the fuel line up, and we'll see if it runs tomorrow morning. Fingers crossed, guys. Or, yeah, that. All right, catch you in the morning.